Sometimes when the deacon is preaching, I'll say to him in the back of the church before we walk down the aisle, in a sentence or two at the most, give me a synopsis of your homily. Because if you can't say it in one or two words, sentences, you can't say it at all. Well, if St. Paul was asked for that message today, what would he say? And he'd say, well, it'd be a question. What does the love of Christ impel you to do? What does the love of Christ impel you to do? And in the gospel today, we see that the love of Jesus Christ in the gospel impelled Jesus to save his friends from danger. This boat that was being tossed all about. Father Joachim, whose name I've mentioned before, a Polish priest who's retired, living with a friend of mine in that beautiful rectory that has 4 separate apartments, sends his homily to a lot of different people. I'm one of the people on the list. And he started off his homily this week by telling a story, a personal story of him being on a boat on Lake Michigan or someplace where all of a sudden a storm came up. And he said literally, he says, I thought I was going to die. And these disciples thought they were going to die. You know, this wasn't just a cute little story. You know, hey, we were out in the boat, and all of a sudden the wind came up, and Jesus helped us. No, it was more important than that. A little monologue, solte voce. And that story of the gospel today got me thinking about a story that someone else had sent me here a couple days ago. The story goes like this. A man was asked to paint a boat. So he brought his paint, his brushes, and began to paint the boat a bright red color. The color that the owner asked him to paint. And while painting, he noticed that there was a small hole in the hull. And quietly, he repaired it. When he finished painting the boat, he received his money from the owner and he left. The next day, the owner of the boat came to the painter and presented him with a very nice check, much higher than what he had paid him to paint the boat. And the painter was surprised. And he said to him, "You've already paid me for the boat, sir." And the guy said to him, the owner, "But this is not for the paint job. It's for repairing the hole in the boat." And the guy said to him, "But it was just a small thing to do, to take care of." "Certainly," he said, "it's not worth the amount of money that you gave me for such an insignificant act of kindness." And the owner said to him, "My friend, you don't understand. Let me tell you what happened. When I asked you to paint the boat, I forgot to mention the hole. When the boat dried, my kids, took the boat out and went on a fishing trip. They did not know there was a hole, and I was not home at the time. When I returned and noticed that they had taken the boat, I was desperate because I remembered the boat had a hole." And he said to the man, he says, "Imagine my relief and my joy when I saw them returning home in the boat after their fishing trip." He said, "Then I examined the boat and found that you had fixed the hole. You see what you did? You saved the life of my children. I do not have enough money to pay you for such a small, good deed. So what's the point? The point of this story? It may be that no matter who, or when, or how, we often are being asked to continue to help, to sustain others, to be with them, to wipe away their tears maybe, to listen a little bit, in a sense, to carefully repair all the leaks that we find in our journey of life, in our actions and interactions with folks. And you never know when someone is in need of us or you. Or when God holds a pleasant surprise for us to be helpful or important to someone else. And if you think about it, along the way of our lives, we may have repaired numerous boat holes for several people without ever realizing how many lives you saved. We made a difference when we knew it and didn't know it. And we pray that we'll continue to make a difference if we know it, and especially when we don't know it.